you for filling in.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
We are in the real studio for this show.
The real studio. Yes, we are.
And making her FloTrack on-camera debut in the back, it's Felicia Banda. Felicia, how's it going?
Very good over here, Kevin. Coming here straight from Tokyo. Can confirm the 2020 Olympics are going to be great. Wow.
Felicia investigated on site for us. She actually went on vacation, let's be honest. But she was in Tokyo to check it out. Guys, special day today. It is the 10-year anniversary, I brought the shirt out here, of Usain Bolt's 200-meter world record. Woo. A lot of talk last week about the 10-year anniversary of the 100 record. I actually think the 200 one was better, though.
I have to agree. I might be biased just because I love the 200, but yeah, that 200 record is the one.
1919, and that's actually going to be the subject of our question of the day. Felicia's going to be monitoring social media and getting some feedback from you all. Felicia, what is our question of the day?
Question of the day, almost the question of the week. What are your biggest Usain Bolt what-ifs?
So what are the things you wondered about? Obviously accomplished more than anyone could have ever fathomed, but he always left us wanting a little bit more. Do you have any recollections of the 1919 or the 958, Olivia? What do you remember?
I just remember being at home watching it with my family. I was super pumped. Of course, I was a little girl at the time, so I was just like really excited to watch Usain Bolt on TV like that.
I was not that young. Thank you for bringing that up. Subtly there. I remember thinking, I hope he runs through the line. Mm-hmm. Because we were coming off Beijing, where he celebrated early, which was awesome. Some people didn't like it. I was on the side of that was cool. He beat everybody in the world and was celebrating so early. But I just wanted to know how fast he could go. So when he ran all the way through the line and dipped, I just was very satisfied looking at those times, knowing that was the full potential of Usain Bolt. Felicia, do you have any memories of this? I don't know if you do.
Pretty young as well. Not a lot of recollection for me, but I do remember always obsessing over the Usain Bolt flex after the finish line. Every time I saw that, I could just confirm that he is the king of track and field, fastest man ever. Unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into the what-ifs in a moment here. Like I said, if you want to send them in on Twitter, Felicia will read them throughout the show. But before we do that, we have a Diamond League meet coming up on Saturday, Paris Diamond League meet. We have some unanswered questions still. We talked about how Birmingham was kind of like
Yes.
And
down.
might be generous. Watered down is another way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want answered this week is Carson Warholm. Can he do enough in this Paris Diamond League meet to be considered the favorite? Which is a weird place to be in because before the year started, we said Samba, we said Rai Benjamin. Those were the big two. Yes, Warholm was great in 2018, but he looked a little bit behind those two just because those two were putting up historic times. Now, with what Warholm's done, he has that 47-12 world lead. If Benjamin and Samba don't race in this meet and he wins again and gets another big win, maybe even drops that personal best even lower, he could go into Doha being the favorite.
Yes, he definitely can. Warholm has definitely put a mark on it, definitely for this season going into the World Championships, but I think Warholm is actually the guy to beat right now, to be honest with you.
Do you think we could see, this is crazy to say, do you think we could see something under 47 from him?
I would not be surprised, to be honest with you.
He does not need competition. We've established that.
Yes,
so
he doesn't need that.
Even if Benjamin and Samba don't show up, he can just storm through that the 400-meter hurdle. So I'm curious to see if he can do it. To me, it would take him running something faster than his personal best, something faster than that 47-12 to say, okay, now he is for sure the favorite to win. And that's a high bar to hit. The event is just too competitive this year for him to do anything else.
It reminds me of the women's 400-meter hurdle race at the USA's. It's just like, it's kind of honestly whoever has the best race that day, whoever's going to win that title. So we all know he can run with heart, and he can definitely get the job done. So honestly, he can just knock one race out in Paris and then really look forward to the World Championships.
We also know he can celebrate. He can put the Viking helmet
there we go
on again. What's the question you want answered in Paris?
The question I need answers to immediately, but I'll have to wait till Paris, is Daphne Skippers going to break 11 seconds? She's ran 11:04 since July 5th. She's been kind of having an off season. We all know she has the potential, but this season it's been kind of quiet for her. She's been in races, she's been competing, but hasn't been able to top the top competitors that have been out on the field. But she's going to be running against Elaine Thompson as well as Talou from the Ivory Coast. So my biggest question is, can that 11-second barrier for her be broken down and get into the 10s? Because she needs it
really
soon.
Well, and that's a crowded race this year.
Yes.
Both races, I should say, the 100 and the 200. When you throw in what Thompson and Fraser Price are doing, what Dina Asher-Smith's doing. We know Shauna Miller-Weibo's not going to run the 200, so maybe there's some space there for her to sneak out a medal. But I'm with you. It's sort of now or never at this point.
Right.
We are just over 30 days to go to the World Championships. I like Thompson to win that race, though.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you there. And it's just like you said, less than 40 days until Doha, and we have not many training days left for Daphne Skipper. So it's like it kind of needs to start kicking into gear right now for her.
Yeah, also we should mention Noah Lyles in the 200. Got a time prediction for Lyles?
Ooh.
He set such a high bar with the 19.5.
He did. I want to say something probably close to like 19.7. I think he might be training a little bit more now because obviously he made it in the 200, so his focus is going to be getting that medal in Doha. So he's probably going through some training cycles right now, and then we're just going to taper off a little bit as we focus and get closer to the World Championship. So probably around 19.7.
19.7. I'll go under, but obviously I want to go up over the 19.5. I think he slots in there. We see another Lyles 19.6, and he blows away the field right now. He has no rival in that event. Let's move on. Let's talk about Bolt. Let's talk about this 10-year anniversary.
Yes.
But let's talk about some what-ifs. My biggest Bolt what-if, you feel picky when you're doing this stuff, but it's about this season that you see right on the screen there. That's 2010, folks, and that's Tyson Gay actually beating Bolt in a signature Bolt jersey. It says 2D World, and it has a picture of Bolt and a lion on it.
Whoa.
Guys, you don't want to lose a race when you have your own face on a jersey. That's just general life advice there. You can see it. Look, 2009, he runs those amazing times, and that came on the heels of 2008, which was really his breakout year. 2008 was really the first year he ran the 100 seriously. He was a 200 and 400 guy earlier on in his career. But I think 2010 was the lost year because there was no championship and because he had some injury issues. He shut his season down right after this race. We never got to see Bolt in full flight in 2010. So my biggest what if is, what if there was Olympics or World Championships that year? What if by just happenstance of the calendar, it worked out that way to where there was a big meet that year? Would we have gotten another sensational time for Bolt? Because by the time he comes back, okay, it's 2011. We know he false starts in the 100. 200, he runs well in Daegu, but doesn't match the 1919. And then on to 2012, he runs 9:63. But at that point, his times were slowly creeping up. I think 2010 was the last chance, in retrospect, to get a fast time. And it didn't happen in part because there was no major championships really to motivate him and get him ready.
Gotcha. So do you think he probably could have touched the 18s in the 200?
No. I mean,
really?
No, I don't think so.
I think 1919.
I think that Berlin race was close to perfect.
Okay.
He had more experience with the 200. I think where the time could have been dropped was in the 100. But again, his window probably of his peak Bolt was probably 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. Right? Those were going to be his best years, just based on how big he was physically, how many injury issues he had throughout his career, and he lost one of those years. Now, you could also say the fact that he kind of took it easy in 2010 maybe prolonged his career and got him all the way to winning gold in 2016, but that's my biggest what if. What do you got?
All right. My biggest what if. I know I've been hanging around Lincoln and Kevin a little bit too long now, but that's okay. What if Usain Bolt would have really focused a little bit longer in the 400-meter race and kind of pushed it to the 800 meters?
Oh, you wanted to see that Bolt-Farah match race.
He might have been able to be up in contentions for a medal for that 800. He just has the long strides. And, of course, since he's trained for the 400, I really think he could have pushed it an extra lap there.
Well, the 400... Well, I'll do the 400 part first because the 800 part is just crazy. There's no way Usain Bolt was going to train for a 400. I mean, that's beyond the realm of possibility. But 400 is actually a question we got a lot because he did it at such a young age, ran in the 45s when he was a 17-year-old. That was his focus. And you look at guys like Van Niekerk and Norman now knocking on the door of the 43-second mark. Could that have been Bolt? Could Bolt have done it? You have to think so.
Could the world record title be next to Usain Bolt's name?
In the 400, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if he stuck with it. Now, you read Bolt's statements later on in his career, it sounds like he hated training
Yes.
with the fire of 1,000 suns. So the fact that he didn't do the 400 isn't surprising at all. But that's a good question. 800, like, there's no way he was actually going to do it, but I thought it was interesting when they were talking about that 600 match race between him and Farah after like 2012. That would have been a fun one to watch, just because it would have answered a lot of people's questions. Speaking of questions, do we have any, Felicia?
We have tons of questions on both Twitter and Instagram. I have to say, I think my favorite one is from Chris Barrow on Twitter. What if Bolt had ended up in the NCAA system? I feel like that opens up so many more questions. What would his training have looked like? Relationship with coach, team? Everything could have been so much different.
Well, he definitely would have run the 400. So that would have solved
See, there we go.
Olivia's question. He would have run the 100, the 200, the 400, the 4x1, 4x4. Would have answered all the long jump questions as well, too.
Exactly. Yeah, he could have been a multi-athlete for all we knew.
Grant Holloway 2.0.
There we go.
1.0. Negative point. Whatever. We would have been before Grant Holloway would have won everything. Yeah, an interesting offshoot of that, too, is what if he was American and not Jamaican? I think a lot of the reason he was so beloved by the world was because he was Jamaican. You know, this island of a couple million people coming to the Beijing Olympics and dominating. It was an awesome story. Played really well in with his dancing and his post-race celebrations and his pre-race stuff. If he was American, I don't think that would have been as well received, because people would be like, all right, we've seen this before. Like, go win another gold medal, America. But if he was... it definitely would have, I think, changed things in the United States in terms of how track is perceived.
I have to agree with you. It would have just been... I'm just still on that question that Felicia asked if he was in the NCAA system. Like, I'm just trying to picture what school he would have decided to go to, because that would have just been a whole new game changer in regards to, like, recruitment and everything above all of that, too.
I know there's a school you would have wanted him to go to.
Exactly. I would have loved to have met Usain Bolt at Texas A&M.
Yeah. What else we got?
And to your point, Kevin, if he was American, Danny T on Twitter had also asked, what if he was born in Kenya? Another big idea that could have completely changed his training.
Well,
the first Kenyan sprinter.
There's a lot of good Kenyan 400 runners that you go back through, way back in history. Like, obviously David Rudisha's father was on the Kenyan 4x4 team. So again, definitely would have put him to the 400, I think, because Kenya has a rich tradition in the 400 and the 4x4. Not so much in the 100 or the 200. I saw a funny response to this. They said his name would have been Usain Bolt. They would have just taken out the L and then the I right there for Usain Bolt. But yeah, that would have been interesting just to see him growing up in that system, because obviously the height was such a big part of Bolt's presence. It wasn't just the fact that he was fast; it was how easy he made it look, which I think was tied into just how tall the guy was. Good question. Making us think deeper, Felicia. I like it.
I mean, Shannon Sharp also entered the chat last night.
Well, the Shannon Sharp?
Yes.
NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp?
100% him.
All right, bring it, Shannon. What's the question?
2 questions from him, actually. What if he had run through the line in Beijing? And what if he had loved his training, which I think is a big question there.
I'll let you go first.
If he would have loved his training, I would have been really, really scared to see what Bolt would have ran, to be honest with you. I honestly think he could have ran that 18-second 200. I'm just throwing that out there, Kevin.
Interesting.
He might have been able to get like 18.99.
Okay.
I think might have happened.
Okay. I disagree, but I take the other side. I think his career was as long as it was because he hated training. I think it actually helped him a little bit, because he knew exactly, him and his coach were really good at knowing how to get his body ready at the right time.
Right.
And I think if he was maniacal about his training and obsessive about his training, I think that we wouldn't have seen him go all the way through 2016. And I think his peak would have been exactly the same. Maybe does he get to 1917 instead of 1919? Maybe, but I think that was part of it. Because remember in 2011 when Bolt false starts and Blake wins, there becomes this narrative of like these two rivals and they're in the same training camp, but they had different approaches to it. Blake was this guy who was a complete workhorse and was the first one there and the last one to leave. And obviously we saw his career has been much shorter in terms of, not shorter in terms of overall longevity, but shorter in terms of his time at the top, right? And I'm not saying that's because he trained hard, but I'm just saying it's not a guarantee that when you train hard, it's obviously going to yield those results. The other question, though, What was his other what if? Oh, what if he ran through the line?
Yes.
So 1969 when you celebrate 80 meters versus 958 when you run all the way through, or 1919 versus 1930. I think we saw it in Berlin, and that's what I was saying at the beginning. That's what I liked about Berlin.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think the Beijing race was actually faster if you ran all the way through?
I honestly think it would have been.
Yeah.
Because when you shut it down, even 5 meters
Hit his
before,
arms out for like 20 meters. It's insane if you go back and watch it. Like that
really
Beijing
is.
race.
I really think it would have been faster.
Okay. That's fair. Like,
Because even 5 meters before the line you start celebrating, that's still a couple hundredths to a tenth that you're taking off.
right. I can
We're
see
in
that.
sprinter terms now. So
Yeah. I have no knowledge of
thousandth counts.
I have no knowledge of sprinting or winning, so this is a better topic for you. But appreciate Shannon Sharp joining the chat here.
There we go.
I didn't know he was a track fan. That's cool.
Didn't know either.
Everybody's a track fan, I guess. What else we got?
What if Usain Bolt had run indoors? How do you think that would have affected his running career?
So I looked this up on Tila Sapaja. Usain Bolt made 0 appearances indoors. literally none, which is not uncommon for.
Be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Again, not in the NCAA season. Not uncommon for Jamaican sprinters to skip indoors. Also, someone his height, you're not going to get him on the bends. Yeah, that would be
He would
a
have been
mess.
hopping all over the place.
So the question is, what would he have done in the 60? Unpopular opinion, I still think Christian Coleman would still have the world record. Because Christian Coleman is really good at the 60, and Bolt wasn't a great starter.
I have to agree with you on that one. Christian Coleman's just literally a rocket coming out of the blocks. And we've seen that as a collegiate athlete. We see that as a professional athlete. So I definitely think Christian Coleman would have won the 60 versus Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
But Bolt just has so much top end speed and has a couple more inches over Christian Coleman that he would have definitely overtaken him going down the straightaway.
Yeah, for sure. And again, that's another thing I think probably prolonged his career, not having to run indoors or minimizing his indoor appearances. It's just weird to picture him running into 60 because by the time he'd get running, he'd be already in those foam pads at the end of the track, and it would have been scary to see.
And then for indoors, it's for some athletes, they see it as a point in time where they're sharpening their skills.
Right.
And Usain Bolt probably saw it as like, hey, I want to train through this. So it kind of just like offsets itself a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right, we've got time for one more here on Bolt.
Okay, we talked a little bit about if he had seriously trained for the 400 meter. What do you guys think about seeing him on a 4x400 relay team? Seriously training.
He has heart.
I mean, that would have been sensational. Obviously, Michael Johnson's run under 43 in a split. I think it's possible that in the next couple of years we're going to see under 43 in an open 400.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, it would have been awesome. And I think one of those Olympics, it would have been great to see, because Jamaica had a good team, but they didn't really have a great team. And if they put Bolt on the anchor, he would have been really fun to watch from the chasing position. And also, talk about the intimidation factor. Oh, gosh. We were talking about this the other day. You were talking about your 4x4 at NCAAs when you got the baton at the same time as Courtney Okolo. And what went through your head?
I was like, Courtney Okolo, I think she won NCAAs that year too. So it was just like, okay, like.
NCAA record holder.
Yeah. So she's just, going to do her thing, and I'm just going to be the rabbit for the first, 50, 60 meters, and then we're just going to see what happens at the very end.
Imagine getting the baton 10 meters ahead of Usain Bolt in the Olympic final.
Oh, God.
And trying to
I would
hold it
not
together.
want to be that person whatsoever.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what his personal best is or what your personal best is at that point. That's a terrifying proposition. So I wish we saw that in 12. By 16, I don't think it was going to happen because he was way far away from his 400-meter roots by that point. But it would have been amazing to see. And that's what the 4x4 it really is all about is bringing together people who specialize in other events. Whatever you have left at the end of the meet, throw your best athletes on the track and let's go. Now, could he have completely fallen apart and run a 48? Well, maybe. But the chances of him bringing it home are much higher than, like a consistent 40. You know what you're going to get with a lot of the guys on your roster. With Bolt, you just didn't know. And that would have been so much fun to watch.
I think it would have been another Matthew Boling 4x4
Ooh.
state meet. That's what it would have been. He would just been chasing that person down.
Yeah. I mean, when Felix ran her 47-7 split, obviously she was in the chasing position. So when you're behind, you see sensational things happen.
Exactly.
And it would have been cool to see the greatest athlete of all time have to run from a deficit in an event that he didn't even run anymore. That would have been like the ultimate test.
I agree.
Come back,
then
Bolt.
he might have
come back. I want to see this.
He might have ran the 400 after that, like taking it seriously.
Legit?
Yes.
Yeah. No way. He would have retired from track at that point. That would have been it for him. Let's close out with some fun things we've seen on social media, and to help us do that, it's Felicia again. You got 4 fun things this week?
I do.
She has 4 fun things. Here we go.
We can kick it off. Tiana Daniels posted a very interesting Twitter thread regarding eligibility, collegiate athletes not being able to earn winnings when they compete overseas, etc. In thing 1, she tweeted, "Personally, I think the university should have an account for the winnings so the athlete can receive them after their eligibility is up. What do you two think about this solution?"
So obviously she's talking about you're over running Diamond League meets and you get 3rd or you get 1st and there's a cash prize. But if you're still in college, obviously you can't accept that. I will defer to you on this as someone, again, who actually won races.
So I'm kind of torn between 2 different sides of this. Number 1 is being someone that has ran for Texas A&M, been running professionally as well. I feel as though, like when I was competing, that I really didn't need the extra money after that, because I saw it as like an experience just traveling overseas and just being able to be
But would you have taken the money, Olivia, if someone had given you money?
But now that I look back at it, I don't, because we get like per diem and stuff. So for me, it was just like I would put it in my pocket if I don't spend it when we're out. So it's just like, we have this huge controversy of like whether the athletes should be getting paid, so on and so forth. But for me, I really don't see the need for a bank account.
Well,
and then we pick it up afterwards when we're done.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then we might as well just be running being a professional athlete, or not giving the collegiate athletes the ability to run in Diamond League meets afterwards.
Yeah.
To be put in that kind of situation, if that makes sense.
Well, interesting. I think if you put it there and then you don't touch it until after you're done, that seems no harm, no foul. Because the meet promoters who bring you out there are making money off of you running.
Yeah.
So I'd rather that Tiana Daniels gets their money or Olivia Kone gets the money than some person who's just scheduling you in to run the 200.
Exactly.
So, I like the Twitter handle here, too. Young CEO. See, she's already thinking of money there. That's good. What else we got?
Thing 2, yesterday was World Photograph Day, trending topic on Twitter.
I missed it.
We had to bring back only some of our favorite pictures from USA's. We've got Craig Engels holding up, I think that's a Bud Light that he got in his hand after his big win. Allison Felix and her daughter. We got Lopez Lamong in the back cheering on Shelby Houlihan as she crosses the line.
That's a good
exciting photo. And then, of course, Sydney and Delilah, world record.
Yeah.
Arm in arm.
These are good, and these do a good job capturing the meet, because you have, Craig Engels is amazing, and the photograph, just even, that doesn't do Craig Engels, well, actually does do Craig Engels justice, which is an amazing photograph, holding a beer with this goofy look on his face. The Felix photo I like because her husband has the Felix the Cat shirt on, which is awesome.
Yes.
Which is awesome. I like that. Obviously, her daughter is adorable. Lopez Lamong cheering in the background. Yeah, that's teammate goals, right? Is that still a thing?
Absolutely.
That's
yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Teammate goals.
Okay, cool. Shelby dominating everybody at Lopez. Very pumped up. And then, the world record right there. McLaughlin and Muhammad. And maybe they'll hug next time. And maybe it'll be Sydney who has the world record the next time they hug. I don't know. What do you think? Which one's your favorite?
I honestly think the Allison Felix photo with her daughter, that meet for Allison, we didn't know what to expect from her. And it was just kind of her first debut back after having her daughter. And so that, to me, is very touching.
Yeah.
So that would have to be my favorite.
Very, very cool. We ready for 3?
Yes. Thing 1. Thing 2, now thing 3. Nikki Hiltz quote tweets after she wins Pan Ams. But if you look at the list, Dominique Hiltz, the winner. Who is that?
Who TF is Dominique? Not sure if we can curse on this show. So as far as I know, Dominique is her birth name. Because if you Google it, there's some hits that go back to her time at Arkansas where they refer to her as Dominique, and then it redirects the page to Nikki. I never thought of Nikki being a nickname for Dominique. I always thought it was only for Nicole. Am I alone in this, or do you guys think that?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
didn't, or maybe I had thought Nicole would have been her middle name or something.
Sure.
That's where Nikki would have come from. I'm not really sure. I just think her response was very funny to this.
Well, also, people should know her name now. She's won enough, and her name's been on that top line there enough times that everybody should know. But I guess they took the formal. They took the formal.
Took
name.
the formal.
You know, like the first day of school when they're doing roll and
Yes.
attendance, and you've had a friend that you've known forever, and you think you know their name, and then the teacher says their full name, and you say, "Who TF?" Well, you don't say TF because you don't want to get in trouble. It's the first day of school. Is so and so. That's kind of what this reminded me of. Right? Like I never
Absolutely.
knew your name was Maximiliano.
It's
I just
like
called you Max.
it's like Kendra Harrison and Kenny Harrison.
Sure.
She goes by Kenny.
Yeah. Well, I think has she always gone by Kenny? Like back when she was at Kentucky, I feel like I heard Kendra more.
I heard Kendra more.
Now it looks weird when I see it because it's just Kenny all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, glad we got that sorted out though. We now know who TF is, Nikki.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thing
Last one.
four, yes. We've got late last night, Georgia football posted an insane relay clip on
is
their
awesome.
account. And a special person that I think you two may have heard of before made an appearance on it. Matt Boling closes in the 4x1, taking the win. What did you guys think of this?
I love so many things about this. First of all, I love the fact that they're leaning into Boling being on campus and they know he's a viral star and they're thinking, how do we use this guy? I like the fact that Boling is up for it and clearly pumped up. I like the fact that he talks trash after beating the football team that was put together with some bigger guys, you could say too. I like the fact that Ryan Fenton's commentary got stitched over. Ryan Fenton is everywhere, and that's amazing. This is incredible. The summer of bowling has not ended. It's only August 20th, and it's gonna continue. What did you think, Olivia?
I thought it was a really creative video, I must say. I was a little confused. I was like, which team is
You were analyzing it for the handoffs.
I was like, what is going on? They were cutting all the way over to lane 1. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is going to be nuts. But I love how they're embracing his presence on the campus. And I think the University of Georgia is really excited to have him there.
And I think he's going to get more questions about, hey, you going to play football, man? What I didn't understand is, and people should watch the video, he got the baton in the perfect spot because he was a few meters behind. Obviously, he's going to catch anybody who's in front of him. But what if they were even or slightly ahead? It wouldn't have been nearly as dramatic.
No,
it worked out so perfectly that he got the baton with the perfect margin for him to get by the anchor and point right at the track. I hope he does this for everything. I hope this is like bowling that we see in regular track meets next year, all throughout the collegiate season. This is sensational. I don't know anything about Georgia's football team this year, but making a prediction, undefeated, national champions.
Oh, well, there we go.
Just because the bowling
That
factor.
is a strong prediction right there.
All right, well, that's it for the show. Thank you to Olivia for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
This was fun. We'll be back on Monday
Yes.
to recap that Paris Diamond League meet, and Lincoln should be back with us as well. And thank you to Felicia, who made her debut. How'd it go, Felicia?
I think it went pretty well. My favorite things to talk about, Matt Boling and social media.
There we go. They collided together. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and joining us. Happy 10-year anniversary of the 1919. We'll talk to you guys soon.